Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back to PrepperNow. I am excited. I'm stoked that the whoosh thing. I saw this thing on another website saying how much I think it's Bud Light. The Bud Light What's Up. What's up? How much the Bud Light What's Up commercial affected people in the 90s. So we're going to do some crazy stories tonight. Yeah, we are. We're going to get into some craziness. I know it's late. We had a busy one today. I didn't even have time to get crisis report done, so I'm going to be doing that in the morning. I was keeping up with all of my people in, on the membership, the people in green. So people like Scrappy Cat, thank you. Good to see you. So, yeah, it's late. I know. And I'm sure they're not sending any notifications out. We're just so used to it. We just like being here. We know what's what. Been on here for a full minute and there's no one here. Oh, man. I was thinking the other day, I suffer from arrogance. I really do. And, when things go wrong, like there's a crackle, right? Well, it turns out it was across the board, and someone said they think it was maybe the solar interference. It's been major solar stuff going on. Now, 3 years ago, I would have covered it, but solar thing, I don't know enough. And there's other great channels like Suspicious Observers that do it, so I don't really cover it. But they said that the crackle thing was happening on all kinds of other channels. It wasn't just me. But to my arrogance, I sit there and I think that there's someone in the background, like just assigned to PrepperNow to watch and make sure that I'm doing everything. It's like, how many friggin' channels are there? There's like hundreds of millions. So that's why they have the trigger word thing. They can't pay someone to sit there and watch PrepperNow or anyone for that matter. So as long as you don't hit the trigger words or do any, boo-boos, it's pretty free. It's pretty cool. So, yeah. So I wanted to talk some crazy stories. But, yeah, I'm arrogant. I think that they've assigned someone to watch me. And, yeah, it's now. They've got, like, AI and computer systems and stuff like that. And then if you trigger something, maybe someone pops on that's overlord. But, yeah. One of my character flaws. I think it's all about me sometimes. I think we all do, though, right? So at least I can recognize it. I can be arrogant. I can be. So I wish I wasn't. I wish I was as pure as rain, or, well, what rain used to be. So here's crazy story number one to my 3 minutes in, 60 people here, late on a Friday night. You're probably all watching Montegraph or one of the other excellent channels out there. I don't know, maybe you are. If you haven't found Montegraph and watched him, you want to talk about a quirky guy. You think I'm quirky? Montegraph is quirky. He's great, though. So evidently everybody's favorite party is putting out casting calls and trying to recruit people to act like they support the super party, the best party on the planet, the greatest party ever. So if you read into this, I was playing it, but I didn't go too far. But if you read into it, it says, people from the South or regional accents encouraged. Ooh, kind of seems specific. What does a regional accent sound like? What is that? Seems to be very specific to a person's. Anyway, yeah. Yeah. Singles, groups, or families, whatever that is. I guess singles or groups or families. Being cast as a real person who supports the Democrat Party. Oh my God. Any ethnic appearance, non-union, per diem, for meals and transportation. This is a casting call, okay? So a little known fact is I actually, when I was living in New York, I used to do some acting. I was non-SAG-AFTRA is the group that you get into. If you're good in turning it into a like a real deal, you get in with SAG. You get in with SAG-AFTRA, which is the union, and they get you the good gigs, and you get, hopefully representation and stuff. But there's literally 100,000 starving artists in New York trying for this. So you go and you search through the little want ads, and things will come up, and they'll be like, "Hey, we need a crowd," and pays $100 a day, and there's a food truck, and they cater it and stuff like that. I actually did some work for the Food Network. Yeah. Was tried for a bartending, like world's, like, I don't know what the show is called. It was like World's Quickest Bartender. I didn't actually do the show. I tried out for it and didn't make the cut, which is funny because when I lived in New York, I probably was one of the quicker bartenders, but I was pretty recently sober. I think I was only sober like 6 months. And I'd done another Food Network gig, and they wanted me to try this out because they like me. And yeah, I just crumbled. I couldn't do it. So this is a casting call. This is what this is. And it's they just tell you what they're looking for, and they pay you. So it says NYC, August 12th, 2024. So this is recent. And to be cast as a real person who supports Democrat Party. No acting. This will be your honest opinions. Please spread the word. The video is about freedom. How it is, how we dream, or it goes on from there, and what we want as Americans. Okay, so by taking away your free speech, they want to ask you about your freedom. So, they wouldn't do that. Yes, they would. Yes, they would. If you disagree with them and you want to say something that is counterintuitive to what they like, they will most definitely do whatever they can to make it so you are silent. We've seen this. It's called cancel culture, and it's a form of communism. It really is. It's one of the first steps. There's things like Alinsky. If you read his rules for radicals, I mean, there's a path, and we're kind of on it. We're not kind of on. We are on it, right? So, if you're in the New York City area and you're looking for a side hustle, you can sign up and make some money for the Democrat Party. Now, I don't know about you. At least they're looking for real opinions. So, obviously, they know their crowd, and they know that the people that are acting, or actors, tend to be of a more liberal sense, even though they're nothing liberal about the party anymore. Progressive fascists is what I affectionately call it. They'll pay you. They'll get you tell them, you say, hey, I think that nobody should have to work more than 20 hours, and the government should give us a stipend every month, and everybody should be mandated to, drive electric vehicles, even though there's no infrastructure across the country to sustain such a thing. If you say anything against dear leader, you lose everything. Just stuff like that. Just give them your true opinion. Okay? Yeah. So, yeah, that's that right there. So let's move on. Let's move on. Where do you want to go? Let's go to the creepy death capsule. Yes, that's right, folks. Things are so awesome in 2024. They're now offering this thing looks like it's out of the movie Tron. It's death capsule. And that's right, for the low, low price of $20. $20. Depth capsule will take you out for $20. How about that? That's a friggin' steal. That's a great deal right there. Why spend the money on going out and getting some kind of an elaborate system? You're getting taxed to death. You can barely afford things. You're working 4 jobs. Life is utter poop. Well, guess what? If you don't like where things are going and, government doesn't have to worry about your Social Security, they'll just take it from your paycheck and, add it to the rest of the trash heap of money that they've wasted. Well, now you can do it. You can do yourself in. Now, unfortunately, this is not an American phenomenon, if I remember correctly. I've seen this. This has been making the rounds for a few months now. I think it is in Sweden. We'll figure it out. Yes, it is creepy, and it assists you in checking out. It's called the Sarcopod, gleaming, futuristic-looking machine. The Sarco, short for sarcophagus, is the real-life 21st century version of critic William Archer's fictional street corner slot machines by which a man could do himself in for a penny. So this is where we're at in 2024. All that like crazy science fiction stuff, it's becoming reality. I'm still waiting for some Bradbury, some Fahrenheit 451, excellent book everybody should read. He was very prescient. I think this one was, what's his name? Vonnegut. I've read. I like to read. I know. Which I wouldn't work out for the Democrat thing because I can do a Southern accent, but I can't sustain it. So, welcome to the Monkey House. The story of the Veld. I don't know if you are familiar with that one. It's these kids it's a future, and there's a futuristic room in people's homes where the children can create any kind of a landscape, and it's real. And the parents are looking for the kids, and they're like, oh, they must be in the Veld. And they go in there, and can't find the kids. And all of a sudden, the whole room turns into like an African safari. And these are short stories. And the lions come out of the darkness, and they take the parents out. And the kids are so happy, because now they don't have any rules or anything like that. They can do whatever they want. The parents are gone. A lot of social commentary. Great stuff from Vonnegut. Great stuff from Bradbury. They were probably, air quotes, liberals back then. I think they'd be horrified by what they're seeing today. I think they'd be like, wow, we called it. So this thing, was developed a few years ago by Philip Nitschke, founder of assisted take-you-out advocacy organization Exit International. Nice name. First unveiled in 2019, the Sarco works by filling its chamber with nitrogen and reducing oxygen levels rapidly once a button is activated from inside. The process would allow a person to lose consciousness and not be with us in 10 minutes. That's efficient. Think about all the taxes that the government's going to, lose out on. But at the same time, if you're in your 50s and you've been paying into Social Security, I mean, hey, government just won that one. So that's great. So $20 a pop, disability friendly. This is great. Environmentally friendly. So it's a coffin as well. So this is great. You just take it, go in, put the hatch down, act like you're in Star Trek, except you're going to leave, you'll be the guy in red, the lone dude that's randomly on each new episode that gets taken out when they first go to the alien civilization. And you can take this death pod to the heavens if you go there. I'm being, jovial and sarcastic and facetious and all that. This is actually a pretty terrible thing. And actually, if I may, this is exactly why whoever's running the show across the world, you are creepy AF and you're doing a really crappy job. If you're actually doing good things in the world, people wouldn't want to take themselves out. Just saying. So, what happens to someone who is, mentally ill or Oh gosh, I don't know. Maybe you're an alcoholic, like someone. You may know one. I've heard some stories. And you think life is terrible, but all of a sudden, you decide to turn it around, and you drive across the country and go to New York City and attend your first meeting in the village, and you meet your sponsor, who takes you through the first few months, and then you get a new sponsor, and he takes you through the steps, and all of a sudden you turn your life around, and you're pretty all right with the world. And then you go on to have 3 beautiful children and a lovely wife who helps people in the whole medical field situation, and you become an educator, and you actually are countering some of the crappy narratives that the other people are doing in education. You're actually trying to teach kids true history. I don't know if you're familiar with that story. I've heard it's a pretty good one. So, yeah, Switzerland is where it's at. I thought it was Sweden. So dignity in dying. Yes, there's such dignity. Such dignity. Great job. Great job. Our leaders. You guys are doing wonderful work. You've done really well when people want to take themselves off the chessboard. So evidently there is a CEO of Humanists Against Assisted Suicide and Euthanasia. So I guess that's good. HAASE. So I don't know if you're thinking about taking the ultimate trip, but this is very much so a foray into just how crappy the people that are running our world are, that when people want to take themselves out. And you'll notice this is not a phenomenon in the Eastern things. This is a product of our really crappy culture here in the West, and that's done on purpose. They want you to become disenfranchised with all of this. They want you to just, go from day to day doing just enough to stay productive to keep them in power, yet not really ask any questions and have any clue on how to change things. So, speaking of a great city, so Switzerland, a wonderful society, and a great city is San Francisco. So now they're undressing women with AI. This is great. You again, we go back to the past when people were creating these really incredible science fiction narratives of what the future would be. And at this point, we're just basically H.P. Lovecraft, right? Only creepier and not quite as intelligent. Now, AI is now undressing women. This is what we use AI for. We don't use it to, learn how to solve, issues of the universe or figure out ways to deal with poverty or anything like that. No. We're going to take AI and we're going to, use it for the most banal and just guttural crap, which is undressing women. Now, I'm a man, okay? I have... the female form is beautiful to me, okay? But I have 2 daughters, and that's where things go differently. So to know that someone could nudify, they go on, like my girls are not on social media. They will not be on social media for a long time, but eventually they will be out on their own, and they'll probably get social media, right? If someone can take all this, Copper India, thank you very, very much. By the way, if you were one of the members, you learned pretty much in real time today that the Hamas deal that everybody was talking about was going to go through, and everything was going to be saved. You learned in real time that it was going to go crash against the rocks and it wasn't going to work, like I called out 2 days ago. So, yeah. So I don't know if you have young ladies in your steed, but this is problematic. Because if they can do it to ladies here, they're going to come out with the ability to do this to just anybody they can get a picture of. So let's say they do that and they send it out. What happens then? And then, like, you're working somewhere and they're like, hey, I just saw you on a OnlyFans or a site or something like that. What's going on with that? And they bring you into HR and you have to explain to yourself, and you're like, well, that's not me. And they're like, well, I saw the pictures. That's the kind of crap that's coming. So let's recap. All the things that science fiction, was touting to come, are now more dystopian than they could have ever expected. And some of those things, of course, are the death capsule, right? And then, of course, this AI taking anybody, really, and removing their clothes and being able to do it. Non-consensual nude images of women and girls. So, yeah. Now, San Francisco is literally in the Ishtar, okay? It is covered in poop. But I do say I applaud the San Francisco city attorney for maybe trying to curtail this. Now, this is the kind of thing that our wonderful Congress could maybe legislate. Instead of going out and worrying about putting, say, feminine products in male bathrooms, maybe they should go out and make it so our young ladies are not able to be nudified by AI programs. That doesn't mean it's going to stop everything, but still, I would call that a worthy cause. That's the thing. I've said this many times. I wish that I wish they would pause. I think we have too many laws. I think our legislators have gone too far. I really don't see how much more they can legislate and do. I think we got all the laws in the books we need. But like when something like this comes up, you bring them in. You say, hey, we'll give them a little bell, like the bat signal. It'll have like a picture of a burning dollar sign in the sky. And, they get the call and they go to their little Congress critter phone and they call in. They say, hey, weep, weep, weep. There's a website in the United Kingdom and Estonia that are violating California and the United States laws on deep fake nudification. So when they go in, they go, all right, dun, 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 dun. Here I come to waste your pay. Oh, I just made that up. I've been in a good mood lately. I'm not going to lie to you. So it's amazing what sleep can do. Oh, we're sleeping in tomorrow too. That's why we're going to do one. This is going to be more like a doom stream tonight, folks. That's why I'm just kind of spreading out. I don't get to do this all the time, but I get to do it today. So yeah, right there. AI generated nude images of 8th graders. That's terrible. That's absolutely awful. That's a problem. That we need legislation on that. There you go, Congress. Now you got something you can do. Instead of eyeing my 401k and saying, hey, let's do price controls on inflation so everybody votes for me, even though it's not going to do squat. That's what we're talking about. Scribes is such a beautiful city with so much rich history. It'd take a month to enjoy. All of us are so sad it's been allowed to happen. I would imagine so. I do like a nice city. Like we just were in Ottawa and we were just in Montreal. And we're looking at other trips where we like to travel. So I'm pricing, trying to keep it at certain levels. And I'm looking at places. We're looking at Copenhagen. We're looking at Lima, Peru. We're looking at, oh God, where else? But, it's got to be like a cheap flight. Because once you get over there, that's why I'm thinking South America next. Because if I can get over there for pretty cheap, round trip, of course, then the food and everything will be pretty darn cheap. Because we did Asia 8 years ago, and getting there was, money, but from there it was like 4-star hotel was $40. Now I'm sure it's more now, but you get the point. It's cheaper. They don't have craptastic inflation like we do here, but yeah, this is a terrible thing. This needs to be stopped. This is something that our Congress could actually work on. That I would be like, you know what? Great job. By the way, for those that don't know, I am Caucasian. Okay? Cool? Caucasian. Nothing wrong with that, right? Nothing wrong with Congress going in and trying to stop that. That's what I meant. Yep. So what else? Let's go on over to crazy story number 3. $5 billion to cost New York City alone. Now, I read something here today. Now, I have not seen this. I have not backed it up. So this is just conjecture, okay? This is Moon Battery. Moon Battery does good work, okay? So they're usually sourced. That's what the red is here. So you go and you'll see, like, you click on that, and it goes to nyc.gov. Okay, this guy does his homework, all right? So it's good stuff. But someone said that 25% of our federal deficit this year was because of our new neighbors. Okay? New neighbors. And it's affecting everyone. Now, I want to make something, I was thinking about this earlier, I want to make something really clear. I don't have a problem with people coming to this country and adding value. I don't. If you're going to come here and you're going to learn our culture, and you don't have to be like a doctor or, anything that's highfalutin. You could come here and be, a blue-collar worker. I got no problem with that. I got nothing but respect for blue-collar workers, right? But doing it in a way that is law-breaking and, I think that there should be a way for people to come in and naturalize themselves. And there is a way, and it's kind of tough. But, you come in and you figure out what the culture is, or at least was. It's changing in negative ways now. But you come in and you assimilate, you acclimate, you get into the country, you learn our history. There's a reason why we're pretty awesome and people like to come here. It's because the way we started and did our government, at least we used to, was really, really well done. And enter in now things like lawfare and other things that are ruining it. At least like today, there actually was some good news today, if you're into this kind of thing. I am. I've got 2 daughters that play sports, and one is really getting into the elite area of what she does. Title IX, the whole thing that was put up by the Biden and Harris campaign, was officially shot down by the Supreme Court. Pretty sure, if I read it correctly. 5-4. But basically, they're going to change it so your biology didn't matter to what sport. It wasn't biologically based. I'll just leave it at that. To use words that aren't going to trigger anybody in the background. So, good for them. But this is, this is where we're at. $5 billion New York City alone. Evidence accrues massive importation of new neighbors under the greatest regime ever, the godlike Biden and Harris. Not only a matter of replacing, well, that's on them. I'm not going to say I agree or disagree or anything. I'm not going to read it. That's one that gets you in trouble. But, you can think of it as you will. We're definitely getting a lot of new neighbors. And they do tend to vote more on the left side of the aisle. But it is Cloward Piven. I think we can all agree with that. For those that don't know Cloward and Piven were 2 professors of Columbia University in, I believe, the 60s, 70s, that were socialists and thought, you know what, if we overwhelm the system, healthcare, education, law enforcement, justice, all that kind of stuff, if we overwhelm the system, we can put in our socialist utopia, okay? So it's well known for those that do know. And a lot of the things that are going on right now, are the first throes of a system that is changing into socialism, and then inevitably communism. Okay, this is the way they do it. It's very subtle. They play to people's emotions. They use conflict. That's why it's called Marxist conflict theory. And they go in and they just pit people against each other, and they get you depressed and hoping that the government will come in, and then they change things in ways that are subtle. But when you look at it and the erosion of things like your rights, it's pretty clear to see. So that's that. What 70s they thought this thing up? We're in 50 years after that. This is where they're at. And one of the ways to do that would be to say, flood the country with a whole bunch of people that need stuff. Okay. Now I get a person wanting to come here to escape a terrible living situation or a terrible country and all that, but there's ways to do it. There's ways to do it. And right now, the way they're doing it is law breaking. It is. It's just a fact. Laws are being broken. If I'm going to get in trouble for breaking a law, one would think that the people that enforce our laws, or the people that actually enact our laws, are legislators. If they were to do things to make it so this happens, they should get in trouble. But of course, that's not happening. So NYC surpassed $5 billion in spending on services for migrants, including nearly $2 billion alone on housing, scores of new neighbors flooding into the Big Apple. Eye-popping figures listed on the city's online asylum seeker funding tracker shows the city overall spent $4.88 billion combined through 23 and 24. I'm a former resident of New York, lived there for a while. I love New York. It's a great city. It really is. Most people are pretty cool. But it's a tough SOB to live in. And it's expensive. And, I remember when I actually got in, I moved there with nothing and worked my arse off and made myself into something. So I was pretty proud of that. Met my wife there. I got off the ground. I got sober. So I had a lot to look back at fondly of that city. But there's a lot of people going there now, and things are different. The prices on everything are very, very expensive. I couldn't have done it. I was there right after the global financial crisis when it was, and actually, no, that's not true. I was there just before, and then it happened. I remember I was applying for a job in a restaurant, and I remember looking up at the television and seeing the Dow down, and everybody going, holy crap, what's going on? But anyway, I digress. This is going to hurt people. This is going to hurt people that are, say, 18 years old, and they're living with mama in the Bronx, and they want to go out and start working, and they can't because they've got all these new neighbors coming and taking their jobs. That is a real phenomenon. Young African American unemployment is really high, and it could be helped if they had a better chance of finding the jobs. And a lot of them do want to work, and a lot of them are great workers. Sure, our youth, all of them, can be kind of lazy from time to time, but honestly, as a guy that has been working with youth for a long time now, it doesn't matter the racial makeup, the background, the color, anything like that. The kid will become a success if he wants to be. He's got to want it, though. Culture matters. We'll just put it that way. If he's got a culture at home of hard work and all that, it's going to work out for him. And there are a lot of people that are coming up and they're saying, you know what, I traversed the Darien Gap and I got all the way up here and ain't nothing going to send me back to that crap hole. And I'm going to go and I'm going to do it. I'm going to make myself something. I'm going to work and they're going to find a job. So our economic growth is a myth. It is. So this is realinvestmentadvice.com, their article taken by Zero Hedge. And he's saying basically that socialism is rising. And that's what all this is. That's the grand scheme of this video, okay, this live stream. Basically, to take you to where things start. You know, you get them going, and you flood the system. You go Cloward and Piven. This is what Venezuela did. Richest country in South America 20-some years ago. Now it's a hellhole. People break into the zoo to eat, literally. And you overwhelm the system, and you turn it into something that just collapses in on itself. And then you come in and you say, hey, I've got good news. I've got socialism to help you. We can start with price controls, right? Let's do that. We'll come in. We know your rent is too damn high, and we're going to make it so it is not. And we're going to force those evil landlords, those evil businesses, to make things so things are within reach of your pricing. That's they say. That's they promise. But it doesn't work. It's tried in the Soviet Union. It's been tried in Cuba. It's been tried all over the world. Communism does not work. The reason why is because humans desire. And I know some young communist is probably going to listen to this and go, no, man, you don't understand. We're going to get it right this time. No, you're not. You're not going to get it right. Because an EMT shouldn't be making what a doctor makes. Because people want to live better than a hovel. It's a pretty simple thing. I state it to my students when I go into economic theory, and I do teach them. Humans desire. Everybody wants more. It's an inevitable fact. Sure, we have moments of contentment, but there is always, always, always more that can be had. And that's not greed either. It's not greedy to say, wow, I'd really like to live in a nicer neighborhood. That's not greed. Greed is being one of these rich assholes in the background saying, we'll crash everything, and then we'll buy stuff for pennies on the dollar. And when they're just broke enough and downtrodden enough, we'll start to give them a leg up. We'll give them what they need, but just enough, and we'll take the rest. And that's what's going on. If economic growth is so strong, as noted by the recent GDP report, why would the Federal Reserve cut rates? It's a good question. Okay, we're getting into economics here. I know. So as you all know, our housing, our cars, they've become incredibly expensive, and basically people have stopped buying them. Why? Because they can't afford them. That's simple fact. I drive a $7,000 car, folks, that I own. And I'm going to do it for the very long foreseeable future. I'm basically going to give my 12-year-old daughter the car here in about 3-4 years. And she can drive it from there. And then I'm going to go out and get me something else. And as much as I would like to go down and throw down on a $50,000, used truck with 97,000 miles, which is realistic nowadays, I'm not going to do that. Probably get another $10,000 to $15,000, get me through it, because everything is expensive. And now they're going to start to sell you this whole thing called socialism. They're going to say, "Oh, we got we know what to do. We know what to do, folks. We got you. We know you're hurting. We're going to give you something. We're going to give you a stimulus. We're going to control the prices." Government was never supposed to be this involved. Okay? It wasn't. States were supposed to run their own show, and our federal government was just supposed to talk to other countries and provide an army if some jackass were to step up. That's literally it. That's it. Coin money. Pretty simple. Universal currency, a fighting force, and talking to other countries. That's about it. I'm sure there's a couple other things in there, but federal court system, federal postal system, whatever. You get the point. Not much. States do everything else. States do education. States do health. States do, because they know their state better. Rhode Island knows Rhode Island better than Pennsylvania knows Rhode Island, okay? So, Federal Reserve's primary tool for stabilizing markets is to mess with the interest rates, okay? So Ben Bernanke said this approach eased financial conditions in the past. So far, it looks like to be effective again. Stock prices rose long-term, yada, yada, yada. Basically, they go in, they make it so the growth of prices stops by messing with the interest rates. Because if you raise the interest rates up, then people have to lower the prices because the prices get too high. You know, people aren't going to buy a $600,000, 1,200 square foot-ish shack, you know, in a terrible neighborhood in Jersey. They're just not going to do it. Mess with the interest rates, and then it goes down to 380, 400,000. Okay. So the policy that they're using is tried and true. You know, it's happened before. But the problem is that now they're taking it in a way that is going to, you know. I said to my wife tonight, I said, you know, we are moving towards communism. You know, and she was like, what? I said, look, you know, the average person doesn't see this stuff. They don't. They just think things are going as normal. But what happens is they basically take this system, they issue a crap load of debt, people buy it, and they go out and they say, okay, I want a house that I can't afford, and I want a car that I can't afford, and I want to do this that I can't afford, and I want to do that I can't afford. And yes, I've done some of that stuff. I keep it within reason, but whole thing gets going, and then all of a sudden it just crashes in on itself because it can't issue any more debt and people can't buy any more things. You know, there comes a point where, like, there's only so much coming in and there's only so much that can go out. So people stop. Well, that's going to get going on a big scale. And what's going to happen is the whole rug is going to get taken out from under all of us at some point. And people are going to be hurting from it. We saw it the market crash. I don't know if you were alive during, you know, like you know, you weren't a kid during the global financial crisis 16 years ago. If you were an adult doing adult things, put a 1 in the chat. I want to see. If you were, you know, younger and, you know, maybe in high school or something like that, and you just kind of, you didn't really know, you know, you were under your parents or whatever, put a 2 in. Love to see. Well, now we're getting to a place where nothing's growing, right? I think we've all seen that. The prices have gotten so terrible. You go out, you know, every time it's like you're looking at a piece of fruit, it's like the damn thing has gone up by 25 cents since the last week you were there. This has been going on, okay? So it looks great to an economist. Economist's like, yeah, this is great. Everything's going up. It's wonderful. But to, you know, Jimmy, the poor slob, he's like, you know, I've only got $100 to eat food on for the next 2 weeks. And it's not going to cover it for me and my wife, or me and my child, or me, my wife, and my child. So all of a sudden the government comes in and says, hey, what's up? I got something for you. We're going to control the prices, and we're going to give you a stimulus package. But here's the deal. Like, to do that, you just got to kind of go along to get along. Can't be too lippy on what we're doing. And, you know, we're going to take care of you. Just don't talk smack on us. And it starts nice and easy, and then everything gets going, and then all of a sudden the government figures out that there are a few people that aren't quite satisfied, and they start to silence them in ways, you know, starting with laws and important stuff. And then from there, it gets more, because people are like, well, wait a second, you can't silence them. Now I'm also facing problems. Oh, can't say that. We'll give you what we got when we can get it. That's what's going on. It's slow. It's subtle. You can't see it, but it's there. It's in the background. It's happening. Debt can only sustain us for so long. At some point, the whole thing is going to crash, and people are going to be hurting. And the problem is that the next time all this goes down, it's not going to be like 2008. It's not even going to probably be like 1929. Because we're basically at the end of the road. We've taken on so much debt that now our deficits and our taxes, they're not doing it anymore. You know, we can barely cover the usury. So what are they going to do? They're going to ask for more from you. And you say, what? Well, you know, okay. My stimulus is coming, right? My help from you is coming, right? Yeah. It's a beautiful system. You give us more, we give you more. It's beautiful until it's not. And that's where we're going. And that's why they're really adamant. And these are the people in the background. These are your mega donors for the most awesome party on the planet. You know, because they're not stupid. They know people that are smart, and they say, hey, if you keep doing this, you're going to own more wealth as they lose more wealth. That's why their everything goes up and our everything goes down, year by year. It's on purpose. Drag on consumers. Decline in economic growth over the past 40 years has kept the average American struggling to maintain their standard of living. Are you all living the way that you were 15, 20 years ago? Because I'm a child of the 80s and 90s, and, you know, I talked to my mom and dad, and they say, hey, it's not getting any better. In fact, it's gotten a lot worse. I told my mom the average home buyer now is 37. It was like 23 back in their day. That's a big sign right there. So, and this is not just tied to what's gone on in the last 3 years. This is tied to 40 years. You know, this goes back, I think yesterday or the day before was when Nixon, anniversary of Nixon taking us off the gold standard. If you guys remember that. From the 70s, 50-some years ago. Today is the 47th anniversary of the death of Elvis, by the way. I do like random history. But yeah, everybody's hurting, you know. And then what happens? Hey, how about a death pod? You know? No, thank you. And then people start putting things on credit. Yep. Turn to credit to fill the gap, maintain their current standard of living. See, they're not stupid. There's rich analysts in the back, highfalutin economists. They know where this is all going. And we had low rates and everything was going great. And then all of a sudden the rates started to go up, you know. And people are like, well, what the heck, man? It was 3.8% to get a home. You know, now it's 7.8%. That's a lot. Man, my thoughts and prayers for those that have adjustable rate mortgages right now. I can't even imagine. You know, you're paying $1,400 and all of a sudden it goes up to $2,200. Like that's people are facing that right now. Never take an ARM. Never taken an adjustable rate mortgage, folks. My dad told me that, and I'm literally okay because of it, because we owned a house way back in the day, and it was an ARM, and we sold it, thankfully. And it made our rate lower, and we were able to afford it because we were, you know, buying into the neighborhood, but we didn't make enough money, but we wanted to look like we made enough money. It's funny, all these other guys were going to their highfalutin jobs, and I was going to my restaurant gig, you know, my apron and stuff, getting ready to go serve tables and bartend. You know, guys across the street getting done doing a financial deal for his, you know, hedge fund or whatever. But we look good. At least my family did. I didn't. But we didn't do that again. Yeah, we had an adjustable rate mortgage. Those are dumb. Don't do it. But yeah, all the consumption is out of the way. You know, now people are getting the credit. Now the credit's not enough either. And here you are. You're in the perfect storm. our parents had it really good, and then they started messing them up. That's why people get, like, I love when people get mad at boomers. They're like, oh, you guys, you did everything wrong. The reason why we're terrible today is because of the boomers. No, it's not the boomers, jackass. It's the Federal Reserve. It is. The boomers weren't doing the monetary policy. They weren't the ones saying, you know what, we should quantitative ease right now. No, they weren't the ones. They're the ones going, wow, look what they just did to interest rates. Let's go buy more crap. That's what happened. It's not the boomers. It's not the millennials either. I'm married to a millennial. They're all right, most of them. Some of them are crazy, but you get the point. You know? So here we are. So now, 40 years of decline has happened. People tried to sustain and make up by having credit and credit card debt and putting everything on credit and usury. And now the bill is coming paid and people are super broke and things keep going up in price. Everything. And our wages aren't rising. Yeah, they asked Wolfgang Puck. They said, why are you raising all your prices? Wolfgang Puck is a famous chef. He's got, restaurants all over. And they said, why? What's going on? Why are the prices all going up? He said, labor. He said, we got to keep good talent. And so to get good talent, we got to pay more money for the right chefs and the right people working. And by doing that, we have to make the pay go, or the prices go up of the food. That's what he said. Labor. That's what's going on now. But it's not fast enough. It's not fast enough. People, your banana's going from $1.19 a bunch to $3.29 a bunch. It's not going to keep up if your pay goes from $40,000 a year to $60,000 a year. Because the banana's almost tripled and your wages have only gone up by 33%. 50%, whatever it may be. So it's dragging down on consumers. It is what it is. So, yeah, the prosperity of the last 40 years is a fantasy. Absolutely correct. So how are they going to do it, folks? They're going to bring in socialism. Come on, bring in the socialism. It's worked so well in the past. Why not dust it off and bring it here, right? Credit-induced boom. Well, it's no longer there. So, what are they going to do? Democracy is always a temporary in nature. It is the cycle of all economic civilizations over time as we forget our history, and we do, become doomed to repeat it. Scottish economist Alexander Tytler, who in 1787 commented on the then new American Republic as follows: a democracy is always temporary in nature. It simply cannot exist as a permanent form of government. A democracy will continue to exist until the time that voters discover they can vote themselves generous gifts from the public treasury. From that moment on, the majority always votes for the candidates who promise the most benefits from the public treasury. Results that every democracy will finally collapse due to the loose fiscal policy which is always followed by a dictatorship. Kudos, Mr. Tytler. You saw it because you knew it, because it's happened before. Now, we live in a democratic constitutional republic. That's what I'm going to call it from now, because it covers everything. Democratic constitutional republic. But they're trying to shove this democracy word down your throat. Why? Because this cycle is getting towards the end. It's getting towards the end. Yep. Starts with faith and courage, liberty, then it goes to abundance, then it goes to selfishness, then it goes to complacency, then it goes to apathy, then it goes to dependence, and then it goes to bondage. Yeah. So there we are, folks. That's why the death machine is making waves. That's why people are coming up the gut trying to get here, because their wealth has already been stripped and they think they're going to get it here. And that's why all of this is going to come to an end. The cycle is completing itself. The snake is about to eat its tail. And the whole thing is about to just crap the bed, and you and I are going to be floating on the boat as it tips over into a sea full of sharks. So there you go. What do you think? Crazy, huh? It's a story old as time, and it's happening, and we are now, I think we're somewhere between apathy and dependence, to be honest with you. I don't know. Where do you think? Between all those over there, you've got faith, courage, liberty, abundance, selfishness, complacency, apathy, dependence, and bondage. What word of those do you think we're at in this cycle? You put it in the comments. Where do you think we are? I'll wait. I'd like to see this. Scrappy is not the snake. Be good to Scrappy. That wonderful woman has been with me since like almost the beginning. Seriously. She's awesome. Cynicism? Yeah, I'd go with that. Apathy? All right. Come on, here they come. Where are we at, folks? I know they're big words. They're highfalutin words. Tell me something like it. Say what word describes where we're at in the American food dependence. That works. Yep, that's dependence. Where are we at? What in this cycle? You want to see it closer? Put it up there for you. Where are we at? Where are we at, folks? What part of that snake eating its tail are we at? Let's see what you guys say. I've got subversion. I like that. Nausea. That's a good one. These are great. Dependence. Dependence again. We're at the tail end, so we're almost to bondage. Dependent. Yeah. Yeah. Effed. Thank you, Lisa. I think you're correct in that too. That kind of sums it all up, doesn't it? That's a full circle right there. F is in full circle. Thank you. Bondage. Obliteration. I like that. Dependence. Bondage. Screwed. Distraction. Ooh, look at you, Chris. Roman. I like it. Complacency. Ooh, the cat took it back. Definitely on the cycle, though. Imploding. I think that's my favorite. Yeah. All great, though. All of you. So, that's where we're at, folks. Thanks for taking this journey with me. I just want people to understand, if you spot it, you got it. You can get out of it if you know where we're at, if you know what's going on, and you know the crap that's to come. And I'd say Mr. Tytler has told us exactly where things are going, and this little snaking its tail thing gives us an idea of about where we are. And I'd say we're somewhere in that orange to red, dependence to bondage. So, which you seem to agree with. All right, folks, we're going to call it on that one. I appreciate you. I did an hour. That's what I was hoping to do. Nice, good, long live stream. Doom stream, as we used to call it, really. But, you got to make people watch, so you got to put the nebulous title now. I thought about doing that one. I thought about going nebulous title. Just calling that. This is crazy. Look at that. OMG bad. Stuff like that. Which, all those could cover all this, but, some people want to know exactly what you're talking about. That's why it's important to tell them in the first 10 seconds. So, crazy stories. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Friends, I hope you have a great Saturday. I probably won't be live in tomorrow. I'm going to be doing my side hustles, as always. So, 2 gigs, not 1, 2. Check that out. It's crazy. But I love it. 5 hours. 5 friggin' hours of work. So, it's not paying that well either, but whatever. All right, friends, we're going to check out on that one. God bless. Hit the like button, do the subscribe thing. Become a member. Like, I think I saw Bad Bobber. $2 a month. I give you intel on the back on crazy stuff going on in the world that you need to know, like knowing that the Hamas deal and the whole thing crapped the bed, and looking at a major regional war in the Middle East at this point. So, yeah. If you'd like to do that, great. Or you can join me on Subscribestar and Locals. I've been posting on there as well. Do about 10 a day. Crazy stuff, get you kicked off other sites. Things like that. I like to inform, folks. I want you to know. I want you to be informed. Because if you know, then you can help yourself. Okay? And where we are in America right now, and in the West, is in a very precarious and sad place. So, I would appreciate it if you hit those buttons, leave a comment, and I appreciate you being here. God bless. Have a great night or morning.